Hey everyone, this week we have a fan request that I am wholly unqualified for, but I'm going to give it a go anyway, so stay tuned. Okay, so I'm not opposed to doing top 10s. As you can see in my channel, I've got plenty of them. My rule for making videos on this channel is to make something that I find interesting, because I don't want to make a video that I don't find interesting. So I've been doing some one-off reviews recently, or some comparisons, because I've been kind of into those. But I was requested to do I was requested to make a video about Prom fragrances. So I figured, okay, I'll do that. The context though is that I'm not a Casanova. It took me 30-something years to find my wife, and I am married so far above my station that I have no clue how it happened. I'm way lucky, and it didn't have anything to do with fragrance because my wife doesn't like fragrance. So I don't know, if you're going to prom, I guess maybe you're not looking for a wife. But I'll say, in terms of women, I'm not like a smooth talker or anything like that, quite the opposite. So I kind of went through my collection and I looked for stuff that I would think of as something that I would wear to prom. But here, taking a look at them, I think that they kind of fit different vibes. So I'm not ranking these. Instead, I'm gonna talk about the scents a little bit, and more I'm gonna talk about the kind of person that I think it would fit, the kind of young man. I'll also say, I don't know what's popular with kids. I'm not on TikTok, and I know that there's like really big popularity with like Middle Eastern clones and stuff like that, obviously. But for me here, this is just about the scents and trying to hew to a younger audience. So there's sweeter stuff on this list because I know that tends to be a little bit more popular. So I'm gonna go through these, I'll talk about the scents and then talk about who I think they would best match in terms of kind of the vibe. And you tell me if you think I got it right or wrong. So right off the bat, I think a pretty obvious choice is Cairo Nights from Sphinx Fragrances. This is remarkably similar to, what's it called? Altair from Parfums de Marly. I know there's some other clone of Altair out there that people have been talking about really positively. I haven't smelled that one. I have smelled this one. I like it a lot. And I think that it's a great profile. It's also unique. I haven't smelled a lot of other vanillas like this. Not something that I would call super realistic. It's kind of synthetic. It smells like ice cream and it's sweet. It's good. I really like it a lot. Big compliment getter for me. I've received a few, which means it's a big compliment getter. The kind of guy that's wearing this, I think you have to be a little bit more jovial. I don't think this is a super serious fragrance. I think this is, again, for me, something a little sweeter. So I think if you have a smile in general, this might be a good one for you because it matches well with that kind of uplifting, vibrant personality. It kind of goes with being a little bit more jovial, I think. And there's a couple on here like that. But just because it's sweet, I don't think that's necessarily. I just think in this case, because it is just a little bit more of a fruity, sweet, kind of a dessert sort of fragrance, I think if you want to match that with a personality, someone that's a little bit, more jovial, outgoing, gregarious, that thing I think would work well. All right, next up is a bougie choice, and this is one that I think last year I called the King of Summer, and I still hold to that. That's Elysium, the Prom version for men, the Cologne Prom, I think, version. This is such a great scent. This one is more expensive though. You can get it cheaper on discounters for a couple $100. It's like 300 something, I think, retail. So for that alone, I would say this is, if you're one of the higher income students, if you've got a little bit of money to spend and you want to do something that is summery, fresh, fruity, kind of smells like future cyber fruits, but is, complex, rich, I think this is a great scent. There's so much going on in here. You kind of have this woodsy pencil shaving thing going on underneath what I call, the super future cyber fruits. It's a great scent. I think this one is very appealing. I will say, I was wearing this in Puerto Rico quite a bit. And one of the members of the wedding party, because I was there for a wedding, one of the members of the wedding party is like, "Oh my gosh, you smell so good. Are you wearing Abercrombie and Fitch?"
Emotional damage.
And I was like, "Oh, it's similar something," even though this is nothing like Fierce, but whatever. That's fine. It doesn't matter. I was appreciative of the positive reception this fragrance had. So I'll say that. I'll also say that this one doesn't have quite as much of a life, which is fine for prom. You're going to be putting on, you want it to last for 4 or 5 hours. You could probably do that. I would just go heavy on it. The other thing I would say is don't go for dupes. The dupes that I've smelled of this, which is really only the Fragrance World one, almost ruined this one for me. The Fragrance World version to me has a bad breath thing. I think I've got a video. It's one of my most popular videos where I'm talking about it. It's not that I don't like clones, I just don't like the clone of this one in particular. So this is a case where I actually do say get the original, not a clone. But I also haven't smelled the other clones out there. I just don't think that they're probably as good as the original. All right, and speaking of clones, I have one here that is, the original is unisex. The clone is meant for women, but I think it's great for men, and that's Club de Nuit Intense for Women. This one's been out for a few years, and it's a clone of Noir de Noir from Tom Ford. And I think, let me grab another test strip because I just lost that one. This one is great. This is patchouli. It's sweet, dark, a little spicy, a little bit earthy. This one to me is one of my favorite fragrances in my collection. And I think this is one that's great for someone who's maybe a little bit more mature. Not necessarily serious, but who is, you know, has a good presence, a good amount of confidence. This one is great for that. You have, like I said, the kind of chocolatey version of patchouli, slight bit of spiciness, but overall it's kind of the green, brown sorts of smells that you're getting there, earthy when I say brown. It's not an obvious choice, but one of the reasons why I picked this is because you would distinguish yourself from everyone else that's gonna be wearing Hawas or whatever clone of Invictus Aqua is out there. I think this is a good way to be unique, but still smell, you know, elegant, refined, classy. So if that's the vibe, I think this is a great option for you. It's also really inexpensive. You can get this for like 30 bucks on Amazon. And again, one of the favorites I have in my collection, so you should absolutely check it out. All right, so next up is a little bit of a curveball. This is an older fragrance, but I think it holds up completely. It's also inexpensive because of how old it is, but you can get it today for a steal, and that is actually Tommy from Tommy Hilfiger. Now, this one you may go, okay, that's a pretty basic old fragrance from 1996. Thing is, this thing still holds up so well, and it's got such a unique scent even today. And I think that it is a good choice because it cuts through. It's not like an insanely loud fragrance, but it's this like really appealing kind of sharp. I think cactus is like one of the defining notes in this. And it's just this like really good, fresh, clean. So, you know, you're dancing around and whatnot. This one will sing when your skin heats up. It's just a great scent overall. It holds up. Like I said, it's not dated or anything like that. There is, I'm not talking about the one that just came out last year, but there's another version. I think it's called Tommy Now. And that one is like a very good, very modern take on this, I think, because it doesn't smell like this, but it smells like if you were gonna make this today, what would you do? And it's got kind of this like interesting cedar wood thing going on that I think is really good. So I think either of them would be great, but the original is so good. You can get this like at any Ross, typically they have a bottle of it. And it's just a good, cheap fragrance that smells amazing and is appealing. Okay, next up is a little bit of an obvious choice, but it's obvious because it's good, and that's Mercedes-Benz Club Black for men here. This one, it's gonna be one of the best vanillas out there. I know I have Altair on here already, but this is a totally different kind of vanilla. This is like a very warm, spicy vanilla, very sweet and alluring. Again, this is another great one, getting up close, dancing, stuff like that. Very appealing, probably one of the most appealing fragrances on this list, just because the combination of the sweetness and the spice is really good. So this is a good all-purpose. I think this would work for a lot of guys. You don't have to have a specific vibe for this one. It's just a good fragrance. Another really good all-purpose, I think this works for a lot of guys, is YSL YEDP. A whole lot of letters there. This one, again, pretty standard. There's a lot of flankers out there. I think if you like something in the Y line, or even myself, it's a good stand-in for this. I mean, there's slight differences, but they're all kind of doing a similar thing, which to me is all about the apple. A little bit of iris in there, I think, makes it a little bit waxy. This is such a good fragrance. This is like maybe one of the most like professional fragrances that just smells clean, mature, classy. This is a great one too, for when your skin warms up, when it comes off of you. It's just, again, one of those really nice things you catch whiffs of. It's not overpowering, it's not loud. One of the things that's not on this list are any of the Sauvages. And that's mostly because I just don't think they're that great. Like every time I've smelled them, I'm like, okay, they're fine, they're totally competent, but I think this is way better than Sauvage or Sauvage Elixir. So I think this is such a good scent. If you don't have it in your collection as a young man, it's a great thing to have because you can use it for any sort of formal occasion, outside of school as well. Just a good all-purpose fragrance, in my opinion, that is also appealing, so check it out. All right, next up is probably the fragrance that I would choose myself. I have noticed that it is seemingly harder and harder to find, so it may have actually finally been discontinued and is not being replaced, which is a crime, because it is 1 Million Lucky from Paco Rabanne, or I guess just Rabanne now. And as I don't know if you could see here, but the level on this 200 milliliter bottle is getting quite low. The good news is that I have another 200 milliliter bottle that's sealed. So what a great scent. I think I mentioned this is the one I would pick for myself. So the way I would describe this one, because again, very sweet. It's got the hazelnut, it's like honey nut Cheerios and plums, you know, with a little bit of woods underneath it. So woods, fruity, with a little bit of this hazelnut thing going on, very sweet. Very, very, very appealing. I love this one. This is, again, one of my favorite scents in my entire collection. I would wear this one personally just because I like the super sweetness. I feel like I'm kind of a, don't take this the wrong way because I'm saying this about myself, but I feel like this is good for someone who's kind of a big dope. And I'm a little bit more professional probably on camera than I actually am in real life. I'm kind of a goober. So 1 Million Lucky to me kind of fits that kind of a big, again, like Altair when I was talking about being jovial, this one is much more of that. I think if you are like a joker and stuff like that, life of the party, I think this fits well with that. So not to like say I'm so great that I'm the life of the party, I just happen to be the one that won't shut up. So this one's great. I think 1 Million Lucky, if you can still find it, I think you should get a bottle anyway. But for a prom, like I said, I think I would wear this one. It's Paco Rabanne, so you're gonna be lasting a long time with it. Loud projection, it'll cut through a lot of the other stuff. It'll overpower a lot of other fragrances. So you're not gonna be subtle with this one. But should die down after 4 or 5 hours to be a little bit more of a personal scent, which is good. Yeah, 1 Million Lucky, get it. All right, I keep kind of changing it up here, going from these kind of sultry, sweet fragrances to some of these other ones. This is, in my opinion, one of the best woodsy fragrances I have that still fits the bill. Bentley for Men Silverlake. People usually talk about Bentley for Men Intense, which is a fantastic fragrance. I think most of the line is actually really good. This one in particular though, the reason I picked this one over Bentley for Men Intense, partly because I think Bentley for Men Intense, while is a great scent and I love it, I don't know if it'd be appreciated by high schoolers. So I just don't think it fits the bill quite as much. This one though is great. Number one, it's strong. It will last. It's a fearsome beast and it'll last you for a good while. But it's also got a fresh, clean woods thing going on. So this is a great scent to give off that impression of a kind of a clean, strong, like it kind of has that rough, rugged sort of thing going on. I would picture this on, you know, someone who's a little bit more rough and rugged. I don't live in the country, but I live country adjacent. So I know lots of people that are, you know, work with their hands and do labor. I could totally see them wearing something like this because it's like a good match for what they're doing. Kind of a light, airy fragrance, a little bit watery, really good. Rounding out the last three, again, a lot of these fragrances are ones that I'm really, really partial to, which I wouldn't be recommending if I wasn't, but they're some of my favorites. I'm also looking for, like, you know, performers, and one of the best that I have is actually Spicebomb. This is Nightvision EDT. I've smelled the EDP and all the other flankers. I know people tend to be into Spicebomb Extreme. I think that's a great scent. If you've got that, I think you could wear that and that'd be absolutely phenomenal. I really like Nightvision more than the other ones, which is kind of a less popular opinion, it seems like. People, like I said, usually gravitate towards one of the other ones, or even the EDP. I don't see a meaningful distinction or difference when I've put these two side by side, this with the EDP. Pretty much the same thing as far as I can tell, so it's not worth buying the other. But the scent is like the name suggests, is Spicebomb. It's very spicy, but it's also very green. So it's got this freshness thing going on. There's cardamom, which has become appealing to me. This is just a great scent all around. It's a very strong one. This will last the entire time. You'll smell it the next morning. This one doesn't come off me until I shower, but it's a great scent. It's not explosively loud that entire time. After a few hours, this will become a skin scent, but the thing that's great about this one is that it stays on your skin for a really long time. When that heats up, it'll come through this great, fresh, green, clean, spicy fragrance. Very, very, very appealing. Okay, and then last up here on the 10, and I'm gonna do one bonus one that's kind of a curveball. This one I think is actually a hype beast. People know this one well, and there's a good reason for that, and that's Stronger With You, absolutely, from Emporio Armani. This one I think is great. It's easier, it seems like, to find now in the States than it was when I got this bottle, as well as a backup. If you don't have the ability to get Stronger With You, absolutely. Wanted by, the Most Wanted from Azzaro. I think I have a video here, I'll try and put a link to it, but doing a comparison, I think you're fine with either of them. They are very, very similar, to the point where it's a difference without a distinction, I think. So whichever one you can get cheaper, I say get it. This is take Lucky, make it a little bit darker, make this a little bit more mature maybe. So you get kind of a little bit of this hazelnut like that before, but kind of this dark ambery thing going on. Very, very sweet, very, very sweet. Also very, very strong and long lasting. This is a performer, it'll stick with you. But yeah, it's kind of doing that like toffee hazelnut sort of sweet, dark, rich, caramelized sugar thing going on, with some nice woods and spices underneath it. I think if you're a confident Casanova, Stronger With You absolutely is going to be a pretty good one. It'll just enhance your aura already. So great scent, check it out if you haven't already. And then last up is one that I have talked about recently, but it's a good one. Again, a little bit pricey, which is why it's not like one of the main recommendations, though you can find it cheaper on discounters. But that's Bistro Waters from DS&DURGA. So this one is a little bit of, could be a little bit of a risk. The reason I say that is because, not because it's not appealing. I think it's very appealing, very green, fresh, clean, watery, but because it is very different. It's maybe a little bit more mature, so you might be taking a little bit of a risk with this one. But so I wouldn't say blind buy this one. I would say get a sample, see if it fits your vibe, because I think if it does fit your vibe, it's one of those things where it'll just amplify really well. I think for this one, this is a good athletic fragrance. I think if you're into sports, you know, if you're captain of some team, or if you're just really into it, I think this kind of goes with it. It's got that fresh cleanliness going on, but it's not soapy. Kind of fits like you know, working hard, but it's hard to describe what I mean when I'm saying this stuff, but like, I can just envision this on some sort of an athlete and feel like it would fit the vibe pretty well. But that being said, I think it also could fit, there's so many different kinds of like people that I can envision this on. I'm just trying to think of like, who should be looking at this one? If you're looking for something that's clean, green, I think bell peppers or green peppers are one of the notes in this, and doesn't give it a spiciness, kind of just gives it this sort of vegetable greenness. Very, very pleasant. I like this one a lot. Again, kind of, you know, skirting the line here, I think, almost to the point where it's not like occasion worthy or formal enough, I feel like. But if the right person wears it, I feel like it's a great statement maker. Great fragrance. It's not massively loud, doesn't project massively. So if you're looking for something that's not gonna cause you to be like looked at a whole bunch, if people are like, oh my God, that person's too strong or something like that, this is a good fragrance that is solid on you, but is not going to fill the room. A good personal fragrance that's enjoyable for you and maybe the people that are closest around you. So good one, very, very good, especially if you're doing a lot of dancing or something like that. When this heats up on the skin again, it's gonna give off a watery, nice cleanliness with kind of a cool green thing going on. Not too sweet though, so maybe less appealing to the younger generation, but I like this a lot. So it would certainly be in contention for me. I would be thinking about it. Anyway, those are my ideas. I'm sure that there are a whole bunch of recommendations for things that I didn't think about that would be better. I think from this you've got several choices that would be excellent. But I'm curious if you happen to be a younger viewer. I don't have as many when I've looked at the metrics. I think I tend to skew 25 to 40. But if you happen to be a younger viewer of mine and you have opinions, let me know. I think some of these fragrances, I think all of these fragrances work for high schoolers. I think a couple of them are maybe a little aspirational, maybe a little outside of the age group, particularly Club de Nuit Intense for Women, the Noir de Noir one. I think that one you might need to rise to meet it a little bit in terms of the scent, but it's still a very good one. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. I'm curious, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye.